Let's take a look at Google Calendar. Now, just in the past couple months, Google has changed the Google Calendar interface. So for some of you, this may be new. So we're going to just kind of take a look at some of the features you can find inside of the new interface. So to access Google Calendar, we can do it a couple ways. One, we can just kind of take and click up here into our Omnibox, type in calendar.google.com, and that will take us there. Or if we come over here, you notice that we have this little grid here. We call this the waffle. When we click on that, we can see all of the different Google apps that we have access to. I'm going to click on Calendar. That's going to launch, and you're going to see My Calendar here. Now, let's just kind of look at a couple things here in terms of the interface. First off, we have the month view that we're looking at here. You notice over here that I can toggle between these month views here to the different months. I can actually change the view from month view to a week view. Gives me a little bit different look, or I can even go to a day view as well. And that gives me what's happening during the day here. So I'm going to come back to month, and that's going to take me in. And again, I can see all of the different events that I've had in the past. Those are grayed out here, as well as all of the different events that I have coming up here. You notice I also have over here a calendar that will show me the different month views here for the upcoming months, as well as I can go back and look at past months as well. Down over here on the left, this is where Google Calendar gets very powerful. This is where I can add multiple calendars. So we start to think about Google Calendar. We need to think about how our life is layered into many different types of events. And so, for example, you notice that I have my personal calendar here. That's just Jeff Cruz here. I've got a birthday calendar, so again, I can turn these things on and off if I don't want these on. I have a computer lab schedule. I can turn that on and off simply by clicking on it. This is a calendar that I share with my family, 5 boys in the family, so there are lots of different activities. So if I want to, I can turn those off. And notice as I do that, these different events start to go away. So I can turn off this guy, turn off a different personal account that I have here, my 8th grade science view. And so you notice again that these are just different events or different layers of my life that I can toggle on and off just simply by clicking on these different calendars here. You notice as I do that, the different individual events for each one of these calendars shows up. So it's a very simple, easy interface here that we can use to kind of manage all of the things going on in our life throughout the day. I get asked a lot about a view that you can print off that's a little bit more readable. So I want to show you one more view here. So if I come up to my little drop down here, instead of selecting any of these up above, I can come to schedule. That's going to give me a schedule events, which is a much more linear view of my life. If I don't want some of these different options or different calendars to show up, I can simply turn those off. And as I do, basically what I get is a different view of only the calendars that are turned on. To print this out, I come up to my settings gear cog up here, I click on print, and that will allow me to print this off as a schedule. So let's look at how we add an event to Google Calendar. Now it's very easy, there's a couple ways to do it. The first way that I recommend is just by coming over here to your little plus sign. Again, this is the Google interface kind of norm here. I click on my little plus sign, it says, all right, let's go ahead and enter this event. So we can make it for today at 11:30, and I'm just going to call this a test event. And from here, I can do lots of different things. I can change the date. I can change the time. I can also make this an all-day event if I'd like. I'm going to just keep it at the 11:30 to 12:30 time frame. And I can also create a repeat type of event. So let's say I've got a student, and that student goes to receive services at a certain part of the day. I can actually come in and I can make it a daily or a weekly on Saturday, change that date, a monthly type of event. So if you have a group of folks you meet with every month, you can actually turn this on as a repeat event by using some of this. And again, if none of these meet your needs, you can customize that to make it work. So again, I'm just going to take and create this event. I'm going to click on save, and we're going to go from there. So now what you're going to notice is that I have a test event right here. Now I'm going to create another event a little bit different way. So let's say I have something coming up on the 16th. Instead of clicking here, I can just simply come down and click on the 16th. And what it does is it automatically starts an event. So all day event. Now, one thing to notice is that it actually makes this an all-day event. That's because I'm in month view here, and I'll show you how that works here in a second. Now, I can also take and I can add this to several different calendars. Again, you may not have as many calendars as I do, but you may have a couple different calendars that you can add to. So if I want to make this a 8th grade science event right here, I click on that. It's now going to assign that color to this event. And for me, and I'm going to hit save, for me what that does is it really gives me that nice color coding saying that this belongs to this calendar right here. So let's jump into your week view here. What happens in a week view when I create an assignment or when I create an event is that I can take and I can come in and let's just say, so January, let's just come in here to this next week. I'm going to just go into next week here. So now if I click on Thursday, notice what it does. It actually takes and it creates an event for a particular time, and it just so happens that I clicked in the 12:30 time slot. So I'm going to just create an hour-long event, and I'm going to put this under my computer lab schedule here. Again, I'm choosing what calendar I want to add that to. I can also click on more options, which then takes me to that page that you saw earlier, which is the more detailed view of the event creation page. So I'm going to click on save. And again, notice that I have these different events now for different colors that help me to organize my life into layers. So let's say you want to now make another calendar. So you see this and you see the power in this. How do we take and create a new calendar to help segment my life? Well, you notice over here, I've got this little plus sign. It says add other calendars. I click on that. I simply come over here and I say new calendar. When I click on that, I get to name that Google, oops, I need to spell that right, Google Class 2018. And I can put a description in. Notice it picks up my time zone. Here's the organization. And now what it will do is it will create this calendar called Google Class 2018, which is right there. Now I don't really like the color of this because it actually conflicts with this color. So I'm just going to come over here. I'm going to just click on. Actually, I'm going to move out of here now. First, it's created that calendar. Now that I'm back in here, you notice instead of that I have these three little dipping dots that we call them. And I'm going to take and make this a lighter green color, which I don't have yet in my color scheme here. So now, any event that I add, again, I come over here. Because I'm in my month view, it's going to create an all-day test, and I might want to type that right, test 2. And I'm going to call this Google Class 2018. I click on save, and I now have my calendar and my event scheduled for that calendar.